Lots of you calling in about Bluesfest. Charlie, in Ottawa, you're on Beyond the News.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me. Well, I want to first start off by saying, there's a very big stigma going around on why a person uses drugs. And a lot of people think it might be because they come from a bad home. A lot of people think because there's reasons behind it, either with, issues at home or school or friends.
Some people just want to party, Charlie.
And some people just want to party. That's exactly right. So that's my first point that I want to bring up. On Snapchat, I'm a young person myself. I'm on Snapchat. I have a lot of friends who went to Bluesfest over the course of the past couple of days. It was crazy every day, not just on Thursday. Yet yesterday was absolutely hectic. On the Snapchat stories, what you were seeing was unreal. There was one I remember of a group of people pulling at a fence, trying to bring the fence down so they can run inside. Security guards came up and threw themselves into the people trying to pull the fence. There were other people. I saw a lot of people saying they were trying to get in for free. Now I can understand, a teenager is not going to want to pay for Bluesfest. However, I was surprised at how many people...
If you've got hundreds of people trying to skip a $50 fee, that's problematic on a lot of fronts.
Exactly. And there were so many people I saw who said, I can get in this way or I can get in that way. I even saw posts online of people saying, pay me $5 and I'll tell you how to get into Bluesfest for free. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And, whenever I heard about the overdoses and the medical emergencies and all of that today, it didn't surprise me because a couple of days ago I saw some pictures online and Cornwall paramedics were responding to calls.
In Ottawa.
Yeah. And I would question why that is. I mean, Cornwall is not just down the street.
Charlie, let me ask you this. You say you're a young person. You understand it's not always just, you're from a bad home or whatever.
Exactly.
And I never think that for people doing drugs. Maybe because I'm middle-aged, I'm old enough to know better and young enough to remember. But what I never had to deal with when I was your age was the probability of take one pill and die. We were all scared as crap about crack. I mean,
exactly.
I was young when crack came out, and there were high-level athletes that were taking it, and a couple of them died. And it's like, okay, crack is whack, stay away from that. And outside of certain very low-end street cultures, I mean, crack wasn't something you did at a party, but these pills, it's something that people do at parties.
Not only that.
Is this being talked about in terms of how deadly, how lethal it can be?
Well, what I hear a lot from the younger generation is, it's not going to be me. Everyone thinks it's not going to be them who's going to take the wrong pill.
I'm sorry for laughing, but we all thought we were invincible when we were 22.
Exactly. And what they need to learn is even marijuana is being laced in fentanyl. Marijuana, we all know it's not healthy for you. There's major side effects. However, it won't kill you in itself. However, if it's laced in fentanyl, it very well can.
Yeah.
And this is something that I don't think people quite understand, is it's not just what they're taking. It's what's laced on what they're taking. What they're taking can be very harmful in itself. And then now we're seeing carfentanil. I was talking to a parent the other day.
I think that's the stuff that takes down elephants, isn't it?
Exactly, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to a parent yesterday who I want to point out actually studied drug addictions. Now, she did this a couple of years ago, so things have certainly changed. Yet she asked me, what is Molly? Now, I don't have a great description of what Molly is. However...
And it's been around a while.
It's been around a while. And we're seeing it more often. And then I said to her, you've heard of fentanyl, right? And she said, yes. And I said, have you heard of carfentanil? And she said, what's that? I said, what if I told you it was a couple of 100 times more potent than normal fentanyl? And she said, what? That's crazy. Fentanyl is so strong in itself. I mean, there's so many drugs out there. And they're also deadly. And now we're seeing more and more deadly drugs. We're seeing more people die. We're seeing more young people die.
It's truly unfortunate, and I'm glad I'm not your age anymore, but I've got kids coming up behind you, Charlie, and that worries me.
That's what worries me, is because, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and it's bad now, and one day I hope to have children, and I'm worried to see what it's going to be like then. What's the new drug?
I can tell you this. In the 70s and early 80s, I mean, these things go in waves, and I got to run to another call in a minute. If there's time, Stephen will tell me. But 70s and early 80s, it was heroin, it was angel dust, all very dangerous drugs that would really mess you up. And then people went away from that, and they went away from the cocaine, and they went towards pot and hash and milder drugs that were just, all right, let's just chill. And not that those are great things, but it was not the danger that you're describing now.
It's very different now than it was before, for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it goes in waves. It's like anything else, there are fads. So I got to run. Thanks for the call, Charlie.
Thanks so much, Brian.